My name is Roland Augustine, and I'm a partner in Luhring Augustine Gallery, which was founded in 1985 with my partner Lawrence Luhring. The gallery has three principal missions, which is first of all the representation of artists. We represent about 28 artists internationally, in addition to the fact that we have a traditional business of buying and selling art on the secondary market or on the primary market. And lastly, we are advisors to a small group of individuals on a very selective basis in terms of the development of collections, their family collections. Secondary markets happen, we are active in the secondary markets, but the primary market is what we're really involved with. But sometimes some of our artists their work becomes more valuable, it starts being traded, and of course we're involved in those markets, and we need to keep informed about them, and primary, secondary, but we're really devoted to primary market. That's the thrust. It's the program of the gallery, the exhibition program, it's the relationships with the artists, working closely on a day-to-day basis, providing a context, developing collections. That's our interest, and that's our strong suit. Spend 1 year going to museums and galleries, not buying a single thing. I'm a dealer saying don't buy anything, right? Seems ironic, but it's the way, I think the best way people can get acclimated to art galleries and really look at art and decide what they are interested in. Go to museums. Stop and ask yourself what it is about a certain work of art that really inspires you or that's really important to you. So for me, slowly work with a handful of dealers whose work you really, whose artists you really respect, and develop it from there. First of all, we're very slow in coming to represent an artist. We take a great deal of time and discussion about any artist that we might consider representing, because we take the relationships so very seriously that even though we might have the opportunity to show an artist who we think might be commercially very successful, that isn't the raison d'etre for us to represent an artist. It's the language of that artist's work. I'll give you a very good example. In 1997, we started representing the Brazilian artist Tunga. And Tunga was not at all known in America, maybe just in certain small. And I realized that the language of Tunga was so sophisticated and so rich, and he was such an important figure. And Lawrence, my partner, and I agreed that we probably would have a great difficulty introducing and selling and making a commercial success of our relationship. But over the course of the last 15 years, we've had 4 exhibitions over a period of time, and we've helped to coordinate exhibitions at museums, and he's now developed a very, very strong following and in museums. It's still very sophisticated, the language, still an acquired taste, but a great, great artist. And so we're interested in the language of the artist. That's the first thing. It's not whether we can sell it, it's really whether it makes sense in the context of the artist that we show. Philip Taft, painter who made this, is the same generation as Christopher Wool. They are huge admirers of one another, and there's a certain relationship to their work in terms of abstraction that makes sense. Reinhard Mucha, who's another artist that we've shown since the very beginning, very sophisticated, very, very important artist from Germany. Again, doesn't make a lot of work. It's not made for the market. It's made because it's important work for the artists, and that's what we value the most. And that's what governs our decisions to take on an artist. Well, in some instances, in exceptional instances, We work closely with other galleries. Good example is the gallery in Reykjavik, Iceland, Gallery I8, who represent, together with us, the work of Ragnar Kjartansson, the Icelandic artist. And that works out very well. So we have discussions as to what they might show at Basel that would be complementary to what we show. And it's a very collegial working relationship. That's the best possible situation. On the other hand, there are galleries that compete with us because we might have some artists who are particularly well known and have very strong markets, and everyone wants to get involved. It's more difficult, more challenging. Well, the art market has changed. The art world has changed a lot. People now don't really look at art in the same way they used to look at art. So the language has been marginalized. They look at it in terms of the asset value or investment value or the entertainment value of art. But this is a part of the culture at large, of the cultural community now. What sells, you know? And I think it's understandable when the market grows to the degree that it has, when paintings start selling for millions of dollars, that everyone wants to make a profit. Many people do. So it's a very challenging period to be involved in the business, and it can be very depressing to know that people aren't really looking at the paintings. They're only thinking about it in terms of its investment value or its asset value. For me, this is very depressing. At a certain point, it's outside of our control, and there's very little that we can do. But we will still always look at an artist's work in terms of its language. Is it conceptually rigorous? Is it formally interesting? That's what drives us. So it's not even, I think the balance happens. It's not so much that we go out to strategically try to balance things. We go after what we're really, really, really driven to in terms of our belief in the development of the language of contemporary art. That's what's important. Don't be naive. It's a tough world. It's a tough world. Slow, steady, small. Begin with modest expectations and develop from there. But don't be naive, because it's a very challenging environment. Many galleries competing for artists. You have to be very, very, very careful. Get good advice from other galleries.